Okay, good morning. It's Thursday, the fifth day of Parshas Bahar B'Chikosa. It's a double Parsha. It's also, what else is the Shabbos called? Anybody knows? Shabbos what?
This Shabbos?
Yeah, we have 5 such Shabbosim in the week, in the year. There's 5 Shabbosim which have this special name.
I only know 2.
Okay, what 2?
Shabbat Gadol, Shabbat Shuvah.
Okay, but there's 5 more. There's
3 more?
There's more. There's Shabbos Chazon, there's Shabbos Nachmu. Yeah. But this Shabbos has a name.
Haftorah.
This Shabbos has a name, nothing to do with Haftorah. And there are 5 Shabbosim that we call by this name. Okay, I'm not going to spend too much time on it. It's called Shabbos Chazak.
We're finishing a parasha?
We finish the Sefer Vayikra. At the end of the parsha, we say Chazak, Chazak, V'nis Chazak, and that's why we call it Shabbos Chazak. Okay, just a little bit of trivia.
But you have also, should be 5 of them because every.
Didn't I say there are 5 such?
No. But I'm saying 5 like that should be because you have Bereshit, Shemot, Vayikra.
I did. That's why I said there are 5 of them.
No, we have also.
There are 5 Shabbat.
We have 5 Shabbos Chazak.
Oh, 5 Shabbat.
In addition to the one you mentioned.
Oh, okay. I got you. I thought you meant total 5.
No. Sorry if I was not clear, but there's.
No,
Okay. All right. So actually, something prompted me to think about something. We had an incident in our house a couple of weeks ago where one of Lynn's, one of my wife's daughters, went take her to the airport and was supposed to be back like in 45 minutes, and for 5 hours we didn't know where she was. Okay, and it was very scary. Lynn happened to have been on a plane going to Florida because she took Lynn to the airport. She had never been to that airport. She forgot her cell phone at home. She didn't have GPS, and for 5 hours, we didn't know where she was, and the entire family was going crazy. I myself, I don't even want to get into what I went through, but and besides everything else that I did to try to find her, I also davened and said Tillim and made deals with God. And I said, God, if she's going to be okay, if she's, then I'll do this and this and this. I don't want to get into.
Are you allowed to do that? I thought you weren't allowed.
We're going to get into this.
All right.
I'm not going to get into what deals I made.
Right.
But nevertheless, I did make those deals. So the topic of today is as Liz asked, are we allowed to make deals?
No.
Is it
Okay.
a countdown neder? I'm not supposed to make a neder.
Okay.
Because your will is supposed to be God, like to God's will. You're supposed to, whatever God's will is. To that.
So the question is, are you allowed to make deals with God? And if you do, what if you do make a deal? I make a deal with God. I'm going for my driver's test today. God, if you let me pass my driver's test, I'm going to learn 10 Blood Gemara. I'm going to learn 10 Blood Gemara. If you make a deal like that, does it count? Another question. If you make a deal like that, and you learn the 10 Blood Gemara, let's say you did it, does Hashem have to keep his part of the bargain? And do you have to keep your part? Let's say you passed the test. Do you have to keep the part of the bargain? Let's say you failed anyway. Do you still have to keep the part of the bargain?
Right.
So these are all valid questions. And I'm sorry to tell you that at the end of the shiur today, we will not have a definitive answer. But let's go through it, and let's see if we can at least simplify some stuff and maybe come up with... this is research that I did on my own, and I found conflicting, as with everything else, I found conflicting halachas, not necessarily halachas, conflicting opinions, and basically, we know that whatever we say I always have an expression, you have to say what you mean, you have to mean what you say. In fact, the mouth is the most dangerous organ. Maybe some of you are thinking about another one, but the mouth is the most dangerous organ. When we stand in Yom Kippur and we bang al chet, we go through all the things that we sinned on this and we sinned on this, you will notice that the majority of them, well, not the majority, but the most of the sins that you ask for forgiveness for is sins that you did with your mouth. And there are maybe some which seem like duplicates to you. So maybe you can go through them and you'll see yourself, but they're all different sins that you do. I think there are 20 or 21 things that we're saying that we sin for with our mouth. What's the holiest night of the year?
Yom Kippur.
What's that night called?
Yom Zikaron, no, that's Rosh Hashanah. Yom Mechaper Avonot.
Has a special night, has a special name. Maybe the only night of the year that has a special name.
Yom HaNorah. The fear.
No, it's called Kol Nidre. We refer to it as the Kol Nidre night.
Okay.
Never heard that?
By Asna, we don't say that.
Yeah. What time is Kol Nidre? Where were you for Kol Nidre? Who davened Kol Nidre? It has that night is called Kol Nidre night.
Right.
It's the night that we say Kol Nidre. What does Kol Nidre mean?
What you said about your mouth.
You're asking, you're praying that whatever vows you took upon yourself should be invalidated, should be null and void. In fact, we have a custom that on Erev Rosh Hashanah we do a private. We're sitting a bedin, and we have 3 people sitting and 1 person standing, and we're asking forgiveness and we're asking to annul all our vows.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but so on that night we're going to say that all nedarim that I'm going to make or did should be
Everything in the past.
not future.
No. That night we just talk about the past. Everything we did in the previous year, we're asking Hashem to annul it, and we're asking the courts, the heavenly courts, to annul all our vows. And because we know we said a lot of things that we didn't mean, we can't keep, we don't want to keep it, maybe you tried to keep it. And by the way, there's a general, I'm a little hesitant to use the word prohibition, but there's a general warning, a refrain from making any sort of vows. I mean, we have a whole tractate in Shas called Masechtas Nedarim that talk a vow is called a neder. That's why you get called nidre. There's a general prohibition about making vows because let's say I want to make a vow that I'm going to do this and this mitzvah, that may not necessarily be written in the Torah, because we can't add to the mitzvahs. There's a prohibition. There are 613 mitzvahs in the Torah. One of those 613 is that you should not add another one.
But Yaakov did it.
Yaakov did what?
Neder.
Okay, so we're going to get to that in a minute. We're going to get to that. Benny brings up a good point, which you can see on my notes. What does it say?
Yaakov.
Right. Okay. So I was about to say that.
Oh, sorry.
I'm almost tempted to turn the camera, and because I see already what I thought was my student is now my Rebbe. Too many times he's pointed that out to me already. So I'm only proud of that. Anyway,
We learn from it, Mendy.
yeah. So Yaakov made a deal with God, as he says. When he went to fight with with Esav, with his brother, with his twin brother, he prayed to Hashem, and he said, tells Hashem that if I will be able to survive, and I will be able to.
No, he's going to Lava. Not Esav. He's going to Lava.
No, with Esav, with
He was
Lavan.
going to Lava, and he said, I'm on my way.
Yeah.
Keep me
Yeah.
When I come back
Back.
from the Lavan,
Yeah.
I give Maaser.
I give Ma'aser Aseret of Lavan.
Yes, going to Lavan.
There you have it. My Rebbe knows better than I do. So
No, maybe I'm wrong. But
no, I think you're right. But I think he certainly prayed with Esav also, because Rashi brings down the Torah uses a certain word Vayivka, and he went to encounter his brother, and Rashi says that means he prayed to Hashem. So either way, right? Either way, we see that Yaakov made a deal. If you do this for me, I'll do this for you. So the question is, or you're allowed to make a general deal with God. You know what, God, I'm going to take it upon myself that I'm going to go out and look for hungry people and feed them, but I want you to make sure that I win the lottery today or whatever. Can you make that deal?
Even God himself made a neder. Not neder, but he said something that he's going to do. He said, I'm going to take Bnei Israel to Mitzrayim for 400 years, then I'm going to take him over the Chush.
Okay, but that's not a deal. That wasn't a deal.
Hashem is going to
That wasn't a deal.
do what your will is, because then you're trying to bend Hashem's will to yours. And you
Okay,
can't
so
do
that's
that.
another point that I was going to make. So we have a good day, everybody. And but it's not quite so. You make a good point, Liz, but we'll show you that it may not necessarily be so.
Okay, good. That would be good. Show me.
Okay, so it's brought down actually that in times of trouble you can make a deal with God.
You can.
You can. In fact, I've even seen it where you should. Not only you can, but you should. And I'll explain exactly how that deal can work or should be made. Not can work. Should be made, and how it should not be made. Obviously, you can't make a deal with Hashem that I'll do this and this, but you got to do this and this. If you don't, I'm not going to do it either. Or I'm not, I'm not going to. There are poor people in town. I'll feed them if you make sure that I'm taking my car in for an inspection. If my car passes inspection, but if the car fails inspection, I ain't going to feed those poor people. You can't do such a thing. Okay, it's all in the wording, and that's basically the whole lesson today is that everything that you say with your mouth, you have to be very careful. Every word, everything has to be worded exactly right, and if it's that way with God, then it's that way with other people. When you speak to somebody else, it's exactly how you word the same sentiment, but if you word it one way or another, you can go from offending somebody, all the ways to making them feel good,
So how would you make that deal? How would you do that?
Okay,
And then how would you reword
so then there's, before I get to that, these days when we say something, you may be familiar with this terminology that we say something, and then we add the words "beli neder." You ever heard that? Okay. That means I'll say, I'll ask Dr. Berman, "Are you coming to Mincha today?" He can say, "I'll be there tonight." Beli neder means without, neder a vow. No promises.
I see.
Okay?
Right.
Because if you promise, then you better be there. Because if you make a promise and you don't keep it, he's going to have to bring a few sacrifices to Jerusalem.
Could be in any other language, Mendy?
What?
Could be in any language?
Could be in any language, yeah.
So it's a...
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Like you don't speak English, so you could say it.
I speak 3 other languages.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, it can be in any language. So it's brought down that, but what if you want to make a deal with God, and let's say, God forbid, somebody's in a troubled time, and you want to you want to take upon yourself something, and you say, I'll do this and this, so that this person should come out of his troubles, relatively, without any problems. So it's brought down that if you don't say, it's a double-edged sword. If you don't say beli neder, if you're actually making a neder, I'm making a neder, I'm going to give 10 promotion to the shul so that my child who is having difficulties in his marriage should have shalom bayis. So I want to donate 10 svarim to Road of Shalom. If you don't say beli neder, you get a schus, a merit, a good merit. You get a check mark in your side in the eyes of Hashem instantly. You don't. It does
before you fulfill it.
Even before you fulfill it. Now, if you don't fulfill it,
then you're in trouble.
Then you're in trouble. But when do you get the sort of the mitzvah? When do you get credit for it? You get credit the minute you make that statement.
But what if it takes you 5 years to buy those mushrooms?
Well, okay, so you can ask all kinds of questions of these type of things. Does it have to be big ones or small ones? Right. It have to be hardcover or softcover? But the bottom line is that when you make a commitment to do something for somebody else's benefit, or maybe even for your own benefit, the minute you say it, you get, if you don't say beli neder. If you say beli neder, then you only get the merit for it when you actually do it. So let's say somebody, like I said before, somebody's going in for his driving test, somebody's child is going in for his driving test, you say, God, I'm going to donate 20 svarim if my child passes his driving test. If you don't say beli neder, you already have a merit, a schus, and hopefully that will help in having him.
But you said if. What if he doesn't?
Oh, okay. Now, so the rabbis have a problem exactly what to do with these type of things. So, because if you don't, by the way, if you don't say beli neder and you don't keep what you said, then you have to do hatoras nedarim. Then you have to get your vows annulled. The problem with getting your vows annulled is that it may bring back that original problem you may have. So let's say somebody's knee is broken, right? So you tell God, you know what? If I'm going into surgery, I'll make sure, if you make sure that I go through this knee surgery correctly, I'm going to donate a Sefer Torah to shul. Okay, you're going for surgery. Thank God it's successful, but now you don't have the money to buy a Sefer Torah. So what do? You got to annul your vow. The problem with annulling the vow is that maybe now you're going to have another knee problem, or that same knee problem will come back. So it's a very dangerous thing. So to cut to the chase, they say there is one thing that you can make without exception. Everybody agrees that there's one mitzvah you're allowed to do to make a vow, and that's the mitzvah of giving tzedakah. You're allowed to say, I'm going to give $100 to tzedakah if you, Hashem, do this and this and this. Now, of course, you have to keep it, and again, if you don't keep it, depending whether you said beli neder or not, you have to annul your vow.
Is that in the prayer that we say when we do the prayer for the sick?
Yes.
It says, without a vow, I donate charity.
Right. We add the word beli neder. Okay, but so that is sort of an exception to the rule. Giving tzedakah is an exception to the rule. Now, as Liz brought up before, I think you brought up this point, like we're supposed to do these mitzvahs anyway. So what do you mean you're making a vow that you're going to do this and this mitzvah? You're promising Hashem, I'm going to do this, and you know what? I'll put on tefillin today if you make sure that my stocks go up today. You're supposed to put on tefillin anyway. So what deal are you making with God over here? So let me just answer another question, which was we're running out of time, is I asked before, does Hashem have to keep the deal? The answer is, what do you think the answer is?
No.
The answer is, of course not. First of all, he didn't even shake your hand on it, right? Like a deal has to, either have to shake your hands or there has to be consideration. If you do a contract with somebody,
have to be together.
Two parties. So he didn't sign. He didn't sign on the dotted line. So he doesn't have to keep it now. But Liz said before that Hashem has something planned for you anyway. So what are you making a deal? You're going to change his mind? He knows this is what I want to do. So I saw something very interesting on this, that when you make a deal with God, what you're really telling God is that I want my child to pass the driving test, let's say, right? I'm keep using that example. Maybe, or I want my child to get into this yeshiva. Okay, you want him to get into the Mir yeshiva in Yerushalayim. There's a waiting list. I want my child to be accepted into that school. So I'm going to do this mitzvah. I'm going to give tzedakah. So what you're really telling Hashem is that I may necessarily not be deserving of such a favor from you. I haven't been a good boy. I don't deserve this favor. So let me do something to deserve it.
Enhance it.
Right. Let me do something to make me worthy of your kindness. Because if I've been a bad boy, what chutzpah do I have to come to you and ask you for something? So if I'm going to do something good, whether it's giving money or something else, so maybe I'll have more of a merit. But more than that, which I saw, which was sort of an acute side, that let's say I'm asking Hashem for my child to be accepted in a certain school, and Hashem already has something planned, and either wants or does not want to give me that favor. When I do a mitzvah, I've now changed myself. I'm not the same person as I was before. When Hashem had already decreed on Mendy Schwartz a certain thing, it was that person, Mendy Schwartz. Now that I've elevated myself, I've changed my being. I now have more mitzvahs in me. My whole energy, everything about me is different. And on that new person, we ask Hashem, this new person, now give us a new blessing and a new decree so that you'll be worthy of that. Okay, I see Dr. Berman standing here, so wish everyone have a good day.